If I think somebody's raising their kid terribly or something, like this little kid that had a meltdown at TSA the other day, I was like, wow, how does a 3-year-old scream and beat up its father? I'm like, going, wait a minute, get out of that. That is not my business. I will not see that child when he's 13. You know what I mean? It's like, get out of all of that my mind makes up. It's like, I can either come back and nurture my own experience, move on, let it pass through, or I could dwell on that kid's meltdown, in front of, it's like, just let it go. Let it go. Whose business are you minding? Where's your mind spending its time? Are you nurturing your life? Are you supporting your experience of life? Or are you feeling drained, exhausted, burned out? Are you noticing your mind is spending a lot of times on things you have no control over? And possibly no one's invited your input on what's happening. So in this conversation, we're going to really look at our role and real valuing, seeing what really matters to you. Do you matter? How you feel in your life, does that matter? I wanted to bring this conversation up because there's a lot going on in the world, and there's a lot going on in your personal world where you can start to notice, or the invitation in this conversation is going to be to really start to notice, if you were going to do a pie chart of your thinking, kind of like where's your head hanging out? Where are the categories of where your head is hanging out? Is it hanging out in world affairs? Is it hanging out in what's happening in your family? What's happening in your job? What's happening in your friend circle? Just kind of maybe just take 1 minute and kind of reflect where you feel like your head hangs out. What kind of hot topics hang out for you? Just take a minute and kind of reflect on that. And maybe even everything you think is wrong with the world, everything you think shouldn't be happening, everything you think, I don't know, good or bad in the world. Just kind of notice where your mind is hanging out. Anybody want to kind of just share a little bit of where they feel like their mind is hanging out? What's taking the bandwidth of your waking hours?
Yeah,
Like what?
I think taking up way too much of my mind, you know,
Mm.
but that I just notice it.
Mm-hmm. That's good to notice. I mean, it really is good to notice.
Yeah.
And when whatever the topic is hanging out on your mind is, what's the feeling? What's kind of the feeling you would attach to it, or the flavor of that situation on your mind or person on your mind? What's the flavor of it?
Well, it changes.
Yeah, yeah. Great point.
It's mostly I just feel compelled to um, uh, uh, let's see. I don't know how to put it. It's just like it's something I need to be taken care of.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, okay, we've been over you. let's 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 lay that aside, and I know, I'll take responsibility for my participation in that, but it doesn't seem optional. I know that I'm a lot better at not putting him ahead of other things as I have been in the past. So yeah, but he still takes a lot of space up in my head.
Super, super. And I think that's even a point that came to mind for me this morning, that just considering where the topics that my mind goes to, it's like it really had me raise the question about how it appears to me that in the past that people allowed worry to be a definition for love, to keep people on their mind.
Mhm. Mhm.
That worry was kind of a um, if I, I don't know if anybody else heard this. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't worry about you, you know? And that's really keeping something on your mind. But if you look at it, it's based in fear. It's not based in knowing they've got what it takes. They'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Um, it's not really pouring love into that individual. It's really a fear-based mindset that I don't know about you, but when I worry about somebody or I catch myself worrying about somebody, if good feeling does not follow,
Mm-hmm.
it can be a drag down. I mean, a weight to my experience. So that's kind of part of what I wanted to point to is that depending on where our mind is hanging out, um, if we gain awareness about where our mind is hanging out, you'll see that i- it can really be in a way your mind can be a thief for taking away from nurturing your own life.
Oh, that's so true.
Because we have this kind of, I don't know, it feels like the human mind kind of has a default setting to go outside of us onto other topics. And that can be defined as loving, whether it's worrying, whether it's just having people on our mind or having situations on our mind, world situations that, I'll say world situations and so many unique things that are happening these days that we have limited reach to change. It's like we can do whatever we're drawn to do, but we have limited reach. And so keeping those topics on our mind, it's like, what's the impact of keeping those topics on our mind?
Mhm.
So the real question I thought we would kind of explore today is what matters more to you? What matters more to you? How they are living their life or how what's happening across town or across the globe, or how I'm experiencing life. Okay. So I just want to say that again because I feel like it's important that what you have to define what matters to you. And that place of kind of noticing is, I think it's a choice point of waking up and a choice point of no, really learning that you have a part in how you feel every single day once you gain some understanding about where the feeling of your life is coming from. But that's a point that's really, really significant in understanding how human beings operate is we have to know where my experience is coming from. And if I want to really value the experience I'm having in my life, I have to, it's a choice point or a point of really understanding that gives you some power of going, oh, I had no idea that if I keep a catastrophic situation on my mind, I can never feel any better. If I keep it on my mind, we're not in denial. We're not saying it doesn't happen. It's just things don't happen in the world, but how much am I keeping it on my mind? It's going to impact, not more than impact, it's going to create your experience of life that you're having. But we don't know that. We don't know that. I mean, innocently, we think if things were different, I could have a better experience of life. It really, really looks that way. It really,
Well, a better experience or a different experience?
thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. A better experience or a different experience. Either one. Or, any of those kind of flavors about, but I think the point is like, first it takes, do you value how you are experiencing life? Do you really value it? It's kind of like when people really value their health, they do X, Y, and Z. If they really value relationships, they make them a priority. If they really value a clean house. They keep their house clean. I mean, whatever it is, and what you value, that you see that there are things that you can do to support what really matters to you. And in this conversation, it's about your experience of life, of really valuing your experience of life, to be able to see that, just to kind of wake up to it. It's like, what matters more to you? How they are living their life or how you are experiencing life? Where does that land just inside you when I ask that question?
Ask it again.
It's like, what matters more to you? How others are living their life, if that's where your mind goes, and the right and the wrong of how people are living their life or their choices. That's just an example. If we find that we're in their world more than nurturing my life, if your mind is hanging out on all what's wrong in the world, can you see that that's an investment that's an investment in a spinning out on that which you cannot control?
Yeah.
But it's like we need to wake up to that our mind is hanging out in all these things we can't control, which takes us away from nurturing and supporting our own experience.
Yeah, I guess, wait, I gotta get this on. Okay. Um, oh, I notice that all the time we're going to have a big wedding in our family in November, and with my son and my daughter-in-law. And I can spend a lot of time there with, evaluating their choices, and then what would be the best choice I can make, and how can I do this, and yada, yada, yada. And I just have to keep reminding myself, it's not your wedding. This is their deal. This is their life. Um, and I find that in a lot of areas. I mean, I can find it with clients. It's like theirs is not my life either.
Mm.
And the choices that are made is not my failing. I mean, if I'm aware and paying attention to how involved I am, because I can get there. I can get into, well, it should change sooner, or change or be better. Um, and it's my acknowledgement that that's what can happen. That's really important, and to remember that I don't become immune to um, that way of thinking. It's like it's always available, just like any kind of thinking is always available.
Any kind,
Any
absolutely.
kind. And so, um, yeah, it's been interesting to learn um, to live in my own space without my thinking compromising that. I don't need anybody else to do that for me. I don't need somebody to show up and I can go, oh, I think I'll focus on them because they really need help. No, I can do it all by my little self.
Mm-hmm. Quickly.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And so yeah, it's like our thinking never stops. Well, neither does the opportunity to pull back from getting into somebody else's business.
Exactly.
In fact, getting into my own business and trying to have it happen faster or different, or um, I've been talking to somebody a lot about how I can't take my physical body personally. If I get into that and think that that's my body doing something to me,
Mm, mm,
that's a bad way to go, because the body is doing what it does. It's waiting for me to be a part of life with it, just like other people are.
mm-hmm.
But I don't have I just had that thought recently in listening to somebody else who was depressed about their condition. And it's like, I have to really shift that focus to there's a condition and I'm living life. Okay, so that's a part of life. That's all.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I really loved the topic when I saw it. I thought, oh, yes, I know that one.
I want to really, really thank you for the questions you're asking, because even the beginning of this conversation gave me a shock to realize that I'm spending a lot of my mental energy looking at the politics of this country and
Yeah.
what's going on and how horrible it is, and getting depressed or worrying. Let's say I have to sort of take care of my husband at this stage in life and worry about it, what I've got to do. And it's like, wow, I really need to do some changes here. And the one thing I realize that I do that sort of nurtures my life is I've started doing these staycations, coming up with creative things to do that generate a lot of enthusiasm for me. So
Mhm.
now I'm involved. I've started to do an India staycation. So I'm exploring folk art from India, movies from India, and how to share parts of that with other people. And that is kind of generating creative energy. So it's just that's sort of an area where I'm sort of growing and hanging out in a good place. But I've got to look at those other things which you've brought up, which are really taking an awful lot of my mental energy. So I thank you for that.
No, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Because I I just noticed too how many, I'll use the word that seems to be overdone since 2020, unprecedented events that are happening in the world, and how it looks really human, that there's a part of our human mind that wants to really attach to those things, almost like, rubbernecking or something. It's like we don't want to even uh, obsess on them, but our mind wants to look in that direction. And I don't know what that is about human nature, and I don't know if that it's universal, but it looks like we don't have as much compelling energy to look at what's right in the world. You know, I don't know what it is about the human mind that sways in that direction, but that's what it looks like to me. But we can't experience life. We can't experience life. I'll say even cleanly. You know what I mean? Like if our mind is full, we can't experience life cleanly in a way of like what's really happening in this real neutral, clean space, this moment.
Yeah.
We bring so much into this, what really is a clean, clear moment, but we don't, it's innocent. It's so innocent. We are not aware of, we're kind of contaminating the moment by bringing everything with us. They can even relate to our own past. It's like, gosh, who hasn't drugged their past with them like a steamer trunk into every moment, or carried it like a sandwich board? It's like, it's not happening right now. It's not happening right now. So this time of getting a chance to see and learn where my experience is coming from. In my own experience, I notice it all the time. I work at noticing all the time. Like if my mind stays focused on the Texas Hill Country right now, with all the devastation that's unprecedented. Again, if my mind stays on that, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I've done what I can do, and it's what's available to me to do. And I can't let that, which is not even in this room with me, destroy this moment or this day. It doesn't improve the situation over there one bit. It doesn't contribute one thing to what's happening or already happened. And we've got long lists of catastrophic, tragic, unprecedented, whatever you want to call it, events that can just suck up that time. Even like I said, that's globally, much less all the things that have happened in our own lives. Very, very close to home and very personal. It's like that, but right here in this moment, we have to come back to right here in this moment. I love your ideas that creative inspiration for staycations, because that really does feed your spirit. It
Definitely.
really does feed your spirit and raise your own vibration and your experience of life, to come back into use of that, what we're talking about really nurturing your experience of life.
And I spoke to an artist about it, and she said, if you're feeling joy in doing this, you're on the right path. And the moment you start to stray from that joy and it becomes like a chore or a should or a this, then you're off the path.
Exactly. I can't emphasize that enough. It's like if it's a should or a drudge and this came up recently in a conversation I thought was so great. For all the books that anybody has ever bought, and they look at that book and they feel bad because they didn't read the whole book, but they did get one nugget of something out of it when they picked it up and they bought it. It's like, just trust you got what you needed from that book
You're so right.
and
Because
let it go.
what got me started on the India staycation is I bought a book because I saw a book with by an Indian woman who's a chef, and the pages look so delicious. And I said, and that got me started on the process. Now I haven't cooked anything yet, so I could feel bad that I haven't done that, or I may still do it. But I could also say this is what got me started on this kind of exploration, which I'm enjoying.
Exactly. The catalyst of that could open a whole universe.
Yeah.
Totally. But even that point about buying a cookbook and thinking I have to make a recipe from this cookbook. It's so innocent, but it's like that's a prime example of how we make up rules and think we have to follow them.
Yeah.
It's like, who says? Who says? Who says? I mean, maybe we didn't make them up, but we picked them up in our experience of life, what people told us, but we didn't get a chance to wake up to it that, oh, I don't have to follow that rule. Because I buy a cookbook, I don't have to make a recipe. Because I bought a book, I don't have to read it. Because I bought a sketchbook, I don't have to use it. I mean, whatever it is, that could all be the elements or ingredients to the catalyst of moving in a direction.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. It just that just feels so much lighter to me. So much lighter. Choice points. These are all choice points about being a chance. And I think as long as we're alive, we're going to keep waking up to the human condition. So, you haven't gotten anything wrong and you're not doing anything wrong and you're not late to the party. It's like, as long as we're alive, we're going to keep waking up and having insights and fresh awarenesses of how we're living. I think another thing that was spoken just a minute ago, it's like, wow, there are so many places I can take my mind or my mind can go. So many flavors of thought. And it's like, wow, is that nurturing? This is my experience. It's like, get out of it. Kind of like if it feels that to your point with what the artist said is like, if it feels heavy or doggy downer or just, I'm supposed to, I ought to, if I was a good person, I would, if all those made up things, just kind of feel within yourself how that lowers your experience. It's like, wait a minute, that must be the red light to abandon that thinking. If it feels rotten, trust that it feels rotten, abandon it. You have that power too. You have that choice. So what's on the top of anybody's mind right now?
I'm trying to, you know, and maybe this is very telling that this is what's on the top of my mind. You know, that I'm thinking, okay, how can I apply this to my life in relation to my husband?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Seems like he takes up a lot of time, and you know, I don't know that that's true. I mean, well, I think about people that I know because I know a lot of single women, you know, and and they have and they don't have a partner that is taking up their time, you know. So they have it seems like they have more time. I'm sure they have the same amount of time, but you know what I'm saying. Or let's see, yeah. So I'm just wondering how this applies to, you know, this whose business I'm minding, you know, applies to him in my relationship, you know. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate my relationship. I appreciate having a partner. Um, and I also know that it's time consuming.
Well, do you hold it? Kind of, how do you, is it, I'm wondering if in that comparing, if it's creating a problem.
I don't think it's, well, I don't know. It's just something I'm aware of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's not that I don't want to have a partner. I would, the idea of not having the partner is, you know, I don't want to do that. I can see the advantage of it, but I also see the disadvantage, you know, that, you know, so, and it's not like I spend a lot of time, well, I guess I do spend some time thinking about it, but not that much. It's just an awareness. Uh,
Mm-hmm. 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 And maybe even just becoming aware of just the times when the mind puts it in a disadvantaged point,
mhm,
you know, advantage, disadvantage. That might be the opportunity to really just dismiss
the whole thing.
disadvantage.
Yeah, yeah, because it's what this is a situation right now. You know, this is how I yeah, and outside of a slight dis comment from him on, oh, you're gonna be somewhere else, you know, that's, you know, it's not like he he goes any further than that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
or I don't think I do either, maybe a little, but you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
make myself available, you know, as opposed to not.
Yes. Yes.
But when I wander off somewhere and come back, you know, it's not like he was sitting there waiting on me. He's like doing whatever he's doing.
Well, I think too that somehow just even a comment is taken, it's really taken personally.
Yeah,
It's not just a comment about the weather, you know, or somehow it's just not a neutral comment.
yeah,
It it becomes, your mind makes it more than a neutral comment.
right, right.
And we all have those things, you know. It looks so much different than just a neutral comment.
Yeah,
It has something to do with me and that how I'm doing in life or how I'm doing in this relationship or how I'm showing up. And
yeah,
it that's where it goes into the weeds of kind of getting a chance to wake up to that going, whoa, whoa. You know,
yeah.
just as a matter of fact, like this awareness happened to me just this morning that I thought was so, like, I was interested about how did I never see that before? Um, I have some car repairs done, and then I found that they weren't all done. And so the guy says, well, bring it back in. I'm like, okay. Well, I started to write this email and I said, let me get my schedule set and I'll be back in touch with you. And I was like, let me, let me. I was like, this sounds like I'm asking permission. So I reworded the email and I said, I'll get back with you when I've set my schedule for the week. And it seems like such a silly little thing, but it was a real kind of a wake up call of like to sharpen my own thinking about, I don't need anybody's permission on, and permission's always been a big thing in my life. You know what I mean? In the back in the day, I basically had to have permission to take up space in a room and breathe. That's that's how I felt long ago before. I just started looking for in the direction of spirituality because I was like, but little things like that. So say you do walk away and you're going to go do something. It's like, guess it's absolutely I can walk away and go do something else. It doesn't mean anything about me. It means I took a right turn instead of a left turn.
Yeah, I had that experience, and I don't know how that'd be interesting to see. At work yesterday, because my daughter is wanting me to do something for her on the 2 days that I work a week, and so I'm considering doing it. And so I said to my boss, well, I want to work this day instead of this day. And then and maybe I'm not going to work at all on these 2 days. And he was like, you know, well, can't she do whatever she's doing on the day you're not working? Well, that's not the kind of thing. It's not something she can move around. And anyway, but I thought, and he said, well, I guess it is what it is. And I thought, well, that feels really sticky, and I can understand, I guess, but I mean, it's my daughter doesn't ask me to do very many things, and so I don't know. So that's but it makes me think of what you're saying. It's just like I had to stop and think, oh, maybe I should figure a way to not do this or whatever,
Or even continue the conversation about really instead of going into your interpretation of the situation, just ask a couple more questions. Going, well, talk to me. Is this a real problem for you if I change my schedule? And let me think about it. And then you get to go back to, well, what really matters more to me?
My granddaughter, my daughter, or my boss. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'd say easy, easy answer.
Exactly. It again, it kind of can distill down to a choice point.
Yeah.
There's not a wrong answer.
I think it's just the men in my life that are a problem.
Oh. That might be something to be curious about too, going.
That's just how it looks.
That's great.
I think it's so interesting when we make other people's reactions our problem. And
Brilliant.
how easy it is to do that, because I think traditionally women can often be people pleasers. And if somebody reacts to us in such a way that feels a little off, we don't think about that other person has whatever thinking they have going on. Cherie Ray, I have learned over the years, right? They're reacting to their thinking, right? And so we can choose, like we know what our truth is, and we can choose a different thought. We can choose a different reaction. And we so often forget that. We think that other people's reactions have something to do with us.
Mm-hmm. And somehow that their reaction has a higher truth than your current experience, or what you need or want.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and when you say that, it's like, well, yeah, it's I'm supposed to be taking care of people's feelings around me. So I don't want to make them feel anything except grateful that I'm there.
That is such a good point. Gosh, that is such a great point. That is such a good point. That I think it's curious too, just to when somebody does react, You know, you can see where your mind travels about what they make up about their reaction. It's like, it's a standalone thing. Their reaction is a standalone thing.
That's so hard to believe.
It's so hard not to take it personally. It is so hard not to take it personally,
Mm-hmm.
especially if there's a rub, especially if there's a conflict of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
A different, you know, a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
All it takes is a different perspective.
Yep, absolutely. But think about, I mean, the world would be so much a better place if more people would understand this.
That's true. And
Yeah.
you can even have moments like the world would be such a better place if they all saw it as I do.
Yeah. Yeah. What seems to be the problem that people don't understand it. It's such a perspective.
If they could just understand their thinking, Cherie, they could
Yeah.
just understand their thinking. They don't have to think my way. If they could just understand their experience of thinking and what that, like, what that means and how they have choices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, appreciate what your comment was, is like things happening to your body or things happening to your body, they're not you. But goodness gracious, do we take them personally as like us? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could really, yeah, that just really struck me. You know, not to take my body personally.
Yeah.
Well, I think that for me, first, it's that it's so easy to think, to point a finger at others and say if they would do something differently, then I wouldn't take it I mean, I remember when I didn't even know I was taking it personally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken, it's happened in layers, I guess, that, you know, when I could recognize it out there, then I had to start looking like, well, what am I doing to me that's personal? Because that's really for me where it starts. It starts within myself. And if I can't see that I'm doing it, then I can't change anything.
Right.
Because I have to change it in here first. It's coming from inside out, not the other way around. And to realize that my body is just, I rented this. I leased it for a time. And it's like would I take my car personally? I don't think so. I
Oh,
mean, I would hope not. Or I would catch myself and go, really? Is that so? You know, and I had that opportunity yesterday. That's really funny because I pulled into a rest stop to look to do something. Oh, to look at something online that I wanted to make an appointment for. And then my car wouldn't start. And I'm like, well, fuck. You know, if I hadn't pulled in here and that whole thing, I mean, I could have done it right then and there. And it was like, no, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, I think like when something goes wrong with our body, after we
Oh,
think we've
yeah.
been doing everything right, if something goes wrong with our body, it feels very personal. You know, like somehow I caused this, or if I was a better person, this wouldn't be happening, or if
Well, then I make it a trauma.
then you make it a trauma and a drama. Absolutely. And it's like, what if that could be avoided? If you really trimmed off the trauma and the drama in your life, how would that be nurturing your experience?
It's amazing. As one who did it, it's amazing. It takes away like suitcases full of crap.
Yes. Yes. But it's innocent that we don't see our role in it until we can have the opportunity to wake up to it. So it's not
Right.
shame on you,
Right.
boo-boo, what anything, no interpretation about seeing whatever you see when you see it. It's really a gift, in my opinion, when you see something, kind of like that email about let me and I will. It's it seemed like such a small thing, but it's kind of nuanced of waking up to all the many layers of thinking, or the way we see the world, or the way we think the world operates. The world only operates in ways that if we can really see how much of how we've made up the world operates is created by me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about my presentation about when I said because what I ended my deal with was, does that work for you? Well, who gives a fuck if it works for you, you know? I mean, yeah. So I kind of set myself up, you know, to I had I had an opportunity to I guess to be in the, well, hell, I don't know what I had an opportunity to. I could have said it differently and had a different response. Maybe not. But I would have, but just like you're saying with the let me in the,
Mhm.
I will.
Well, and it can be collaborative conversation. You know what I mean? It's like I just sharing, you've been extended a request and this is what comes to mind. And it could be very collaborative and not a throw down the gauntlet, like
Mhm.
this is what's happening, get happy about it, you know?
I don't know. I don't know how, I don't know the answer to that.
No, but all of that, and you couldn't have said it any better, and you didn't need to say it any better. It was perfect what you said. And it even evoked this kind of conversation to be able to look at it. So again, there's no harm, no foul to how
Yeah.
we've shown
Yeah.
up. It's helped us. It's really that kind of the way the mind will grab it and think that if I'd said it better,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd have a better outcome. Well,
Yeah.
that's caca.
Yeah. Yeah. That I'm taking responsibility. Yeah. But still, you know, something to think about, or briefly.
Well, very
Yeah.
briefly,
Yeah.
because you can go back to again, nurturing your life so you can take things off your mind. Because when you do take things off your mind, you're naturally gonna be living in a better experience.
You know, I was thinking yesterday about how, and recently, how I, I related at work because it's such a contrast because I had a really tough time at work for a while. Now I don't so much, and in that I think I'm much kinder to myself than I have been in the past. You know, and I think, well, that's nice. And then immediately on that, I thought, well, where are you not being kind?
Exactly. It's like it wants to take you down a rabbit hole. I mean,
Yeah,
you want the
yeah,
human mind. It wants to take you down a rabbit hole, whatever
yeah,
direction you're looking.
yeah,
It wants to take you. And it's like, wait a minute, I don't have to go.
yeah.
If I just take that off my mind, I'm going to be experiencing life fresh, lighter.
Mhm.
And that really is what nurtures your experience, is taking things off your mind. Taking it off your mind, you're going to naturally rest in a good place. And I think it's an experiment I invite you to try. Just allow yourself to take things as best you can. You know, we're not perfect. Our mind can be compelling and compulsive. And it's like, wait a minute. You know, like I said, I do that a lot. Like if, you know, if I think somebody's raising their kid terribly or something, you know, like this little kid that had a meltdown at TSA the other day, I was like, wow, you know, how does a 3-year-old scream and beat up its father? You know, I'm like, going, wait a minute, get out of that. That is not my business. That is, I will not see that child when he's 13. You know what I mean? It's like, get out of all of that my mind makes up. It's like I can either come back and nurture my own experience, move on, let it pass through, or I could dwell on that kid's meltdown, you know, in front of, it's like, just let it go. Let it go.
In terms of letting go, I know that there's no one size fits all about how to go about that. But I was wondering if you have come across ways that are effective. I know you mentioned like changing something like the email and realizing it and speaking up and things like that. This morning I had an experience. I woke up kind of like grumbly and I didn't sleep well. And I took mala beads and I was just breathing with them till I came more into myself and not into the grumbly mind.
Mm-hmm.
Wondering if you have any suggestions for any creative ways that you have found might work. I mean, I know it's not one size fit all. I know it's all an experimentation that's personal, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I love what you just said. It's like in the moment where you started to feel you had a choice. I can either go down that road and sit and grumble, or I can redirect. Your own wisdom woke you up about, oh, I have a choice point here. That's how it works. For everybody, it's like when what can happen is when you wake up to a choice point like that, you can pick what matters most. Going, man, and whatever it is that occurs to you, something that has occurred to me in the past is like when I really feel like my head is full, I really feel like it's what comes to mind, has come to mind, but something different may come to your mind every time when you really want to empty out your head. I just felt like I had a bucket with a drip from the ceiling, and it's like, okay, whenever my head feels full, I have to just go dump that bucket and just somehow it just helps me empty my head. But like you said, there is no one size fits all, but when you have a desire to carry less on your mind or to see where your mind is kind of taking you, it's not a problem. You wake up grumbly. It's like human beings wake up grumbly, big deal. Now I can indulge it, or I could, and like you said, you picked up your mala bead, something occurred to you. And that's just how it works. Just let whatever occurs to you when you see you have a choice.
Okay, thank
And
you.
there's no condemnation for feeling anything. We're going to feel everything. We're going to feel everything, but we don't have to, because our mind went there doesn't mean we have to follow. Thank you for that. That's a great point. Just be curious, that like you'll get the feeling kind of, this is what I've looks true to me. You'll get a feeling when it gets too heavy, or you feel exhausted, overwhelmed, or burdened. You're like, whoa, there's nothing else going on here, but then I've got too much in my head. There's nothing else going on except my head is full. And then it's like, wait a minute, how can I offload that? How can I see that it's nothing more than my head is full or very, very busy on one thing or a whole lot of things. Does that make sense in kind of a human mechanical kind of a way?
Yes.
A fundamental mechanical kind of way. Yeah. So in that place about when you really start to value or really want to start to see that you have some role in how you feel in your life, and if it matters to you, that how you feel in your life, it can really help you support you in living with less on your mind. And then you naturally feel better. You naturally have staycation mind or vacation mind. You think about it. When you go on vacation, you take everything off your mind until you come back. So it's the same thing. Staycation, vacation. You can live in that every moment all day long and cultivate that as a practice. Staycation mind, vacation mind is an empty mind or a quieter mind. Or just get out of their business. That helps me feel better. Just get out of their business.
One of the things I always think of is something I heard, which is, she made a decision or a choice that her mental well-being is the most important thing to her. And I took that on. It was like, okay, if that's the case, then all this other stuff I'm doing has nothing to do with my sense. It impedes my sense of well-being.
Yep.
And if it does, then I either stop it or, I don't know. It's just that awareness, just having that little aha moment.
Yeah.
Oh, right, I made that commitment. So let's get back to that. I've had an interesting experience. I didn't do it. A friend did it. She's a professional at it. A website for my practice, and it's called A Shift in Perspective. And we haven't quite finished it, but it's already up. So I sent it to some people. And I thought, well, now do I really want to send it because it's not perfect? And it's like, are you kidding me? we can change this anytime. We are changing it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I've gotten that sense of do it anyway. Keep going. I got from the work that I've done with you, Cherie, the painting, the collaging, it's like, if you're waiting for it to be perfect, you're never going to put it up anywhere.
Yep. There's no such thing.
No, there isn't. And it's like, so it's like we have these opportunities constantly,
Mhm.
constantly, as much as we have thought, which is constant.
Constantly.
So,
Which is-
yeah. So it's like, okay, I better get better at this because it's going to be here.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah.
That's excellent. Because well-being or your experience of life, they're interchangeable. You know what I mean? It's like for your mental well-being or whatever, however you want to call it,
Right.
is just the feeling you live in more of the time. And do you want to, and we don't realize our mind will take us to victimville, or our mind will take us to taking it personalville, or our mind will take us to powerlessnessville, or woe is
Or
me,
Meville. Yeah.
What you just brought up reminded me of this card I have of saying of the Dalai Lama, and the last thing he says is, since the basic source of peace and happiness is one's own mental attitude, it is worthwhile adopting means to develop it in a positive way. And that's just what you're saying, and I appreciate that, to make that the most important thing.
Yes.
Yeah, how important is it to you? It takes us right back to the beginning of the conversation about what matters to you.
Yeah.
What matters to you? Beautiful. Well, I thank you all for coming to the conversation. It's like I said, I just love seeing you all, and I love sharing these times with you. So thank you for carving out the time. Thank you for coming to the conversation. It's a gift. So thank you for coming to the conversation. If you have anyone you'd like to share this conversation with, please do. Please hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified of all future conversations. What a great conversation. I'm so grateful for everyone who came to the conversation to explore the topic of whose business are you minding? And we'll come back to the final question that we can send you off with. And it's like, what matters more to you? How other people are living, what's happening in the world, or your experience of life, your sense of well-being? In this conversation, you see that there's a lot of power in our own choices. And the more that we live freer minded with a less burdened mind, we're naturally going to live in a better feeling. So thank you very much in the conversation. I look forward to connecting with you on the next.